the Severe MMA Podcast Premium with Sean Sheehan and Graham McDonald.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Severe MMA Podcast, joined today by the man himself, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who's in Cork this weekend at FightCon down in Ireland to meet all the Irish fans. Stephen, I've been a big fan of you for years. Anyone listening to this podcast knows you're the captain of Team Sheehan and everything. I'm delighted to have you on. How are you? How are you enjoying Ireland so far?
Doing good, my friend, and glad to be here, to be honest with you. I've been out in Dublin. We flew out to Dublin, and now we're actually just landing in, Cork as we speak. So it's been great, man. Loving the fans and everything.
So you spent the last night in Dublin. Me myself now, I'd be a bigger fan of Cork than Dublin. Which do you prefer so far, Cork or Dublin?
Oh wow. Well, I've never been to Cork, so we're just now pulling up to the train station. So I haven't seen it yet, because I come from a small town anyway.
Yeah.
And I hear Cork is a smaller town, so I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, it definitely has more of a small town vibe, I suppose the first thing I need to ask you is, obviously a couple of weeks ago it was announced that UFC are coming back to Dublin, and myself and maybe a lot of people, the first fight we thought of was yourself versus Gunnar Nelson. That's a fight I think a lot of people had wanted to see for a long time. As we know, Gunnar trains out of Dublin a lot of the time and trains with SBG. What do you think of that fight? Would you love to headline the card coming up in Ireland?
Well, as of right now, we're trying to get, we're trying to fight somewhere in the top 5 right now, or a name. I just defeated Vicente Luque. I'm not really sure where Gunnar is at the moment in the rankings, but, trying to work my way back up for the title fight. Obviously, Gunnar Nelson is a tough guy, and hopefully, you never know, later down the road, we might be facing each other again. Or actually not again, but be facing each other for sure. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he gets back in the top 5 or top 10 and maybe make that happen for sure. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, I'm just focused on the top 5 and trying to go for that title again, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Would that, maybe that other fight, if you're, to fight someone else like Colby Covington or whoever it might be around the top 5, would that be a fight maybe you'd like to have in Ireland?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I mean, the fight in Ireland would be awesome. Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I hear the fans here are just amazing, man. There's not a arena that explodes like the Three Arena here in Dublin. So that would definitely be a cool experience for sure. I fought in Madison Square Garden and Vegas, and so definitely would be super cool to be able to fight here in front of the fans in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, when you get close to the very top, as close as it can be, you had a draw for the World Welterweight Championship, obviously, and you kind of, you go down, obviously lost Anthony Pettis, unfortunately, and then you came back with the Luque, the Luque win. A lot of people maybe sometimes forget about you. A lot of talk recently, with the Usman fight, with Masvidal and all coming up. And your name is rarely mentioned. What do you think when those conversations are happening and your name really isn't mentioned with all of those people?
Well, I've got a lot of competition for sure, I mean, these guys are very popular, very good fighters. And the crazy thing is, when I see Masvidal and I see the success he's had, it kind of gives me the inspiration to keep moving forward because, it wasn't 2 years ago that I defeated him at Madison Square Garden, and look at him now. Yeah. After that loss, now we've kind of exploded and had some really good wins over some tough opponents. So that could be me within a year or so, being right back up at the top. But I got to stay focused. I got a small window to kind of do what I want to do, just turned 37. So I want to make the best of it and keep working towards that title. So, it doesn't really bother me that much. I just got to make sure next time I step on the octagon to put on an excellent performance to let the fans and the UFC know that I'm still here.
Mm-hmm. Is that something you really want to do in the next fight? Is you said you wanted someone in the top 5, a big name and a big maybe knockout win or something like that? Because it seems like we looked at the light heavyweight picture there recently, and Reyes getting the title fight and Blachowicz coming through a week later. Everyone was talking about him for the next title fight. Is that something more so than ever now that it's not just good enough being the best fighter or getting the best wins? You need big knockouts as well.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, obviously, look at Masvidal. His last few wins have been crazy knockouts. So, that would be awesome. I know it's kind of difficult with these guys in the top 5 because the skill level is so high. Yeah. But, that's what everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to see a knockout, man. That definitely pushes you and bumps you up the rankings for sure. Mm-hmm. But And then again, you know, you got guys that are fighting for titles that really haven't been winning. I mean, Jose Aldo just got, you know, defeated. Obviously, it was a controversial win, but he's fighting for the title at 135. It's crazy.
100%. And the same at middleweight. You know, Yoel Romero coming off of 2 losses. And I want to ask you about middleweight as well, because obviously, you know, the champion there until not too long ago was Robert Whittaker, and you have a knockout win, you know, over Robert Whittaker. I remember you said after the Pettis fight, you did a video and you were kind of talking about maybe moving to middleweight. Is that still in your thoughts, maybe in the future, maybe over the next year or so, to move up to middleweight? Because there's, with someone like you who's obviously, you know, your agility and your speed is probably your best feature. Like at middleweight, I feel like that would even be enhanced. Do you ever think about going to middleweight?
You know, I always told myself if I ever got the title and Robert Whittaker was still champion at that weight, that, you know, because I faced him before, that I would probably, you know, it would be cool to go up and fight him again. But to be honest with you, I'm not even a big welterweight. I walk around about 190, 195. You know, when I spar guys and train with guys like Chris Weidman, who is a 185er, and just to feel the power and the strength in these guys is ridiculous. You know, when he grabs me by my wrist, I feel like a 5-year-old. I can't get away.
Yeah.
So, you know, to face guys like him, you know, in that division, you know, because I'm not a big guy, I would have to literally put on some muscle, put on some weight to be able to move up to that middleweight class. So as of right now, in the future, you know, I don't know. I mean, if Adesanya is still champion, and if I get that title, you know, that could be a possibility just to kind of mix things up. But until then, I'm definitely focused on the welterweight division and you know, trying to keep moving forward to get that title. So maybe if I do get the title, it will happen for sure.
Is there? I know you said a top 5, but is there any specific name you want at welterweight right now?
Oh man, anybody in the top 5. There's a few guys that are fighting coming up. So we'll wait to see what happens with those. You know, you got Tyron Woodley and Leon Edwards. You know, Colby Covington coming off of an injury. So you got some really high level guys that got fights coming up. So I'm kind of waiting for my hands to heal up and get the okay from the doc. I broke both my hands my last fight against Vicente Luque, and just waiting for them to heal up, and hopefully around that time maybe Colby Covington will be healed up, or maybe you know, get a fight with Leon Edwards. I'm not sure. So it's kind of up in the air, and we'll kind of see what the UFC wants to go with it. I would take on anybody, to be honest with you. Maybe a rematch with the DMF, you know, the internet versus the DMF.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, but the way that Masvidal has been going recently, I think that'd be a big fight as well. Stephen, I really appreciate your time. Just 2 more quick things. Over the last few months, I've spoken about judging a lot, and it's been a really a really big discussion around MMA recently. And your fight with your 2 fights, even with Woodley, were big discussions about judging too. I've been asking kind of fighters for the last while, and I really love to get your take about judging. Like, when you're going to fight, have you spoken to judges? Have you kind of read the criteria and actually looked at the criteria before you actually get into the fight? Or is it a thing like you prepare the way you're going to prepare and you'll fight the way you'll fight regardless of what the actual criteria are?
Yeah, to be honest with you, you really don't hear a whole lot about, what's involved with what the judges have to go through to be able to get to be able to become a judge. It's consistency is what they're having problem with. But guys with lack of experience, you may have, and that all goes with the State Athletic Commission. You may have boxing, judges out there trying to judge an MMA fight. Of course, I don't know the details, but it just lacks consistency with with strikes and here lately there's been a lot of controversial wins for sure, bad calls from judges' eyes, and it's just it's getting to be too much. So the UFC or the Athletic Commission, wherever the fights are at, are going to have I guess better criteria for these judges to have to go through to be able to become a judge. So maybe ex-fighters or something, the guys who actually in the cage and kind of see more than what these guys who've never been in the octagon or a ring before. I think some old school fighters or guys that have retired or been a part of the game for a long time would make good judges as well. So I don't know what they're going to have to do to make that happen, but something needs to change for sure. Do
you feel like fighters, like yourself included, do the fighters actually read, the criteria is written on the ABC website that the judges use? Have you ever read that, or do you think other fighters read it?
No, I actually have never read it. I just never really thought about it, to be honest with you. But now that this stuff is coming up, I'm definitely going to be looking into it, man. Fighters should do that for sure.
100%. Last question here. Obviously, you're in Ireland. I have to ask you about Conor McGregor. You know, after you got the NMF belt on Ariel's show, he tweeted out he wants that fight against you next. Is that a fight? You know, everyone I suppose wants to have that fight against Conor McGregor. I know you're in the same. You're both with Paradigm. Is that a possible fight? You versus Conor McGregor?
You never know, man. I mean, obviously, you know, he put his little 2 cents out there after I got the NMF belt, and he's been fairly nice. He was very nice his last fight against Cowboy Cerrone. So I kind of poked at him a little bit after that fight because he was being so nice. So I was like, hey man, you're being nice. So let's, you know, they want to fight for the NMF belt or, you know, try and defend it against you. So I don't know, man. Obviously he's got bigger and better plans in the future, maybe to beat again or maybe go into another boxing match. But the guy, you know, he's looking at those big money fights, and but it would be cool. I don't know of anybody who would not want to fight him because, you know, it's going to be a big payday.
That's it, 100%. Stephen, I really appreciate your time. Before I let you go, tell the people where they can find you this weekend, obviously down in FightCon in Cork.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, man. So everybody that's listening, make sure you guys come down to FightCon, come check me out, come hang out, get a photo, get some autographs, just hang out, man. And that's why I'm here. I love hanging out with the fans. But you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Wonderboy MMA, and Facebook at Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Great. Stephen, really appreciate it. Been a big fan of yours for years. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.